my fellow readers. Today we're going to be doing the mid-year book tag, so it should be a little bit of a quicker video than normal, but I do think it's still good to kind of give you where I am in the middle of the year and my thoughts on books, because these could change by the end of the year, who knows. Okay, so the best book I have read so far, I have 3, and I'm going to share all of them. I'm trying to not give you repeats, although there will be repeats throughout this video. I would say I narrowed it down to 3, and that is Inspiration Porn by Ryan O'Connell. If you saw my June reading wrap up, this should be pretty expected. Love this book. It's a nonfiction memoir essays about Ryan O'Connell and what it is to be gay and queer and disabled and those intersections. So for me, loved it. Yes, just give me so many more of these. But I also love Ryan O'Connell, and I love the fiction book he also wrote, which is Just by Looking at Him, which I talk about incessantly on this channel. So that's all I'm going to say about it. So the next one is Disappoint Me by Nicola Dinah. So here's the thing. I originally rated this like 4.5, then it was a 4.75. It is now a 5. I think about this book continually. I just really resonated with it, and I thought it was really interesting, and I love that there were 2 perspectives, but we were in 2 different timelines, and I just felt like that was so cool, and I haven't really seen anyone else do that correctly, or I don't know, like more so like I haven't seen anyone actually make it work. So definitely this. I just love the story. I thought it was amazing. And the first 5-star I had this year, which is Blue Sisters by Coco Malors. This to me, I've seen mixed reviews. If you do not have endometriosis, I don't know if this hits the same, but as someone who lives with endometriosis, I understand what happened, and I understand like the reality of it. I wouldn't make the same choice, but regardless of that, I do think it was really well done, and I do love a family drama, of course. So there you go. Worst book I've read in 2026. Now there's a few that I could say, to be honest with you. I don't know what's happening. There's a piece of hair. Great. Okay. Anyway, there's a lot I could say for this, but the one that first comes to mind is Murder Bimbo by Rebecca Novak. Wasn't for me. I don't love like an epistolarian kind of novel, I have found, which is why I have not read The Correspondent yet, because I don't know, I've read a couple that are just all letters, and I just not a fan at all. So that's why I haven't read The Correspondent. But this to me, didn't like, won't read again, will only really talk about it in videos where it's like the worst of. So probably by the end of this year, I probably will be getting rid of this, because not for me, but if it's for you, love that. Best sequel I have read in 2026. So this isn't part of an interconnected standalone. I think it had to be this, which is Penalty Shot by Korea Rattan, because quite frankly, I didn't think we were going to have any more in this series. And then when that showed up, I was like in shock. Okay, like one of the best ones. I'm so excited if and when there's more, but obviously I'm a huge fan of hers, and so anything she writes I'm gonna really love. But for me, that was just the best sequel, because it's a world I haven't been in a few years, and I really enjoyed being in the world. Alright, so worst sequel I've ever read. The worst sequel I've read in 2026. Now, I would say I don't read a ton of like sequels in general, because I don't read a ton of series, like interconnected standalones, yes, but not series. The reason this is what I'm going to show you is simply because due to certain things that were said in the books in regards to queer characters, I will not be moving on with the series, even though I really do like the series. So yeah. And that is The Strength of a Few by James Islington. Yeah, that's kind of where I talked about this in my May wrap up. So go watch that if you haven't. But the way that queer characters are talked about in here, like there's like a couple mentions, it just really rubbed me the wrong way, and I really don't want to continue a series where I feel like queer people are invalidated in any way, or like made to feel like they have to be secretive or shouldn't belong in society. I just refuse to do that. So yes, it's not the worst, but it's just not something I'm going to continue. All right, new release that I haven't read yet. I mean, there's quite a ton of new releases that I just haven't read yet. But I'll say this is The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston. Yeah, there's other ones, but they're either on my TBR for the month or things that I'm planning on reading. Um, Due to just where I'm at right now in my life, I do have to clear my TBR cart. So make sure you're subscribed to see all of that because there's 40 something books on my TBR. So am I going to be able to do that by the middle of August? Time will tell. Time will tell. Um, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that, guys, but we're going to try our best. The most anticipated release for the second half of the year has to be Heartstopper, although that is like kind of a cop out a little bit because it comes out this month. But it has to be there because it's the only graphic novels I've ever read, but it is Heartstopper. So, of course, it's on this list and I cannot wait. It comes out, I think, next week. So, I'm super excited for that and I need to get my hands on it immediately. So, biggest surprise of the year. This is like an author, but I know the next one is also like author, but it's V.E. Schwab. Um, wow, you can't even see this. Okay, this is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I really, first of all, love this book. I know some people think it's slow, but I really enjoyed it. But also, for me, yeah, I just loved it. And I think V. Schwab has been my biggest surprise of the year because I would have never imagined me getting into fantasy in general this year. But I've like loved it and I love this book. So my favorite new author will have to be Sarah Damoff. This is The Bright Years, only because I'm going to talk about her other book in a different question. But Sarah Damoff really can do no wrong with me. I think the family drama, the complexity of these characters, what they're going through, it just shows how much like she takes the time to get to know her characters in some senses. I believe she's also a social worker in her like day job, and I think that really pays off in the work that she tells. Um, Fully, I really do think it is such a yeah, you can see it reflected, I think, in a lot of her work. And so for me, that is really cool. But I just, especially the Bright Years, I would say I related to the Bright Years more than I did the Burning Side, only because I have a parent who's an addict. So for me, this was always going to be more of what I related to. It's not that the Burning Side was bad. It's just in comparison, I definitely related to this book a little more. But overwhelmingly, like my new favorite author will be Sarah Damoff. If she writes something, I'm going to buy it. All right, next is newest fictional crush. I mean, I don't really have one. I don't really fall in love with characters like that. Um, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't really have one. All right, I have two books that made me cry, both of which shouldn't be that shocking, and that is Into the Blue by Emma Brody and The Burning Side by Sarah Damoff. I will say both of these pulled at my heartstrings in almost the exact same way. Um, I definitely didn't have. I think it was interesting because I read The Burning Side before I read Into the Blue, and I do wonder if anyone else had this reaction. Is that like I cried more during The Burning Side than I did Into the Blue because I do follow very similar, I guess, endings in some capacities, although they make different choices, the characters, in regards to that. And I don't want to give too much away, but there was definitely some similarities between these. Obviously, this is more a family drama, which I do like a more family drama than I like romance part of it. So maybe that's why I also resonated with The Burning Side a little more or liked it a bit more. But either way, these both made me cry. Both were very cruel in that way, but I will say pulled, I think, at the right thing of like if you're faced with certain decisions, what decision will you choose, and then how does it end? Um, Again, I don't want to give too much away about either of these books because I know so many people have read them, but I don't feel like anyone compares them, and I just think in my head they were very similar in the way that things were structured. All right, book that made me happy. It was Bruiser by Emmy Sanders. I don't think this should shock you. Kind of similar to Penalty Shot. I didn't think we were gonna get any more in this series. This is the Elite Eight series. It follows an adult entertainment company and kind of how it's an interconnected standalone. So each of them they follow their love story. And for me, I just didn't think we were gonna get any more. And there will be one more after this, so there'll be 8 books in the Elite Eight series, which is just beautiful and glorious. But for me, I just didn't think we were gonna get any more. And so I'm kind of like still very shocked. But I loved it. I thought it was so sweet and so cute. And I thought both it just made me want to be in college more again, like or make me want to be in college again and like explore like a different side of the college experience that I did not have. But that's beside the point. Loved it. Can't wait to read the next one. The most beautiful book you bought this year or received. However, this is not my favorite book, but it's the Elsewhere Express. But I simply cannot part with it because look at how gorgeous it is. Um, it really is that beautiful. I didn't like the actual story inside of it, but the book itself is gorgeous, so can't really complain. Um, there's not much else I can say about that, but like look at this book. Like the detail, like it goes all the way around. And then if you take the sleeve off, like look at it. Hello. And then like look at it on the inside. I just like how do you not think this is not like this is the most pretty book I own? Like just because the story kind of sucked didn't mean that the book wasn't good. That's a great reason to keep a book. It's a great reason to keep a book, Megan. Um, hey, sometimes you gotta have pretty things on your shelf, okay? So this will be staying on my shelf. All right. Lastly, which books do I need to read by the end of the year? Now, first of all, I need to clear my whole TBR cart off. I mean, that doesn't mean that there won't be books coming back on it, but currently in my headspace, I need to clear like the 40 something books that are on my TBR cart. So that's first and foremost. But if we're getting more into like the specifics, let's do that. All right. I pulled 3 books, although one of them I've already read. Let me explain that one. I said The Darker Shade of Magic. I've already read this, but I need to read the rest of the series. I just can't do it right now because I have a TBR cart to finish, and adding 2 more just sounds not like my best and my finest move. Okay, so therefore that's why I don't have the other 2, but I will eventually buy them and I will finish them. But I think this will be more of like a fall time read for me. I'll probably finish this series in the fall. I would take a guess and a stab, but yeah, I'm looking forward to them because I do think this is a really fun series. We're in 3 different universes, 3 different Londons. Each of them have their own. Well, technically there's 4, but each of them have their own like pros and cons, and I think it's really interesting. And there's a little bit of a heist, a little bit of a mystery and action going on, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, definitely I'll be picking up the other 2 because it's a trilogy. But then there's also the new one, which is a spin-off that takes place in the future. So I'll probably read that one as well. I just don't think it's going to be until the fall, and I'll probably have all of them when I get to my fall TBR. But not that I did a summer one, but guys, we're gonna. It's been one crazy summer because the beginning of June, my life kind of took a turn, and now we're on that train. So okay. The next one is Kristen Hanna's The Great Alone. I feel like so many people love Kristen Hanna. I don't know if I can get into The Nightingale. I'm not a huge like historical fiction fan, although this is historical fiction, but this is like family. So yeah, I definitely did think I was gonna read this when I went to Alaska in May, but it didn't happen. So it's still on my TBR card, but I am looking forward to it. I'm a bit worried to read this during the summer though. Like obviously I have a TBR card to finish, but some of these books I'm like these would be great for the fall. I just don't. I do need to finish them. And I don't want to give any more details other than that. You can make your own assumptions. But for this, I do actually need to finish stuff. But I do think this would be a great fall read and not necessarily a summer read. But like this isn't giving me like, let me go read this on the beach. Like this is not giving me that. So yeah, that's great. Not ideal, but we'll get through it nonetheless. And then the next one is Best Offer Wins. I have been more into thrillers this year, and I was never a thriller person. So the fact that I'm even putting a thriller on this list is wild to me. But I genuinely am very excited for it, and I genuinely cannot wait to read this. And I know I've heard so many good people, like so many good things about it from people that I can't wait to read it. Yeah, it just hasn't been the right time. So again, it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, this would be better in the fall, but like I can't wait. So here we are. My plan is to at least get through 30 of the books I have and then save 10. But I don't even know. Guys, we're gonna do our best, and then whatever we don't read, we'll deal with it when we get to that point. Which y'all will be following me along for the journey. You'll just get one very long video about that stuff. So yeah, anyway, there we go. that's that. That is my mid-year book tag. I hope you enjoyed this video. What is your least favorite and most favorite book that you've read this year? And make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Bye!